Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well today. I have another tour for you. We're continuing to look at the infrastructure of the Brotherhood of Steel my character has established here in the Commonwealth. So we've just left the Mechanist Lair, it's not too far from here. We're going to make our way towards the Boston Airport. And for those of you who don't know, the Boston Airport is where the Brotherhood of Steel have established sort of a temporary headquarters. It's where they've parked the Prydwen. In my game, I've completed the main quest, and I've become the Sentinel of the Brotherhood of Steel. So Liberty Prime is also stationed here at the airport. And as you can see, I'm not wearing my typical armor set. I'm wearing my my Sentinel's formal clothing, if you will. As you can see with the Brotherhood beret and then the Brotherhood patch right there, as well as my combat armor pad here showing my Sentinel ranking. So if we pan around here, make our way over to the Boston Airport, I've turned it essentially into a primary logistics area. So my guy, he's establishing a logistics infrastructure for the Brotherhood, in that he controls the Mechanist Lair, as well as controls any goods or equipment that comes through the airport and is either sent out to other outposts or stays here. So once again, we approach a secured Brotherhood of Steel area. Just a couple reminders. It's a nice clear, kind of later evening time, and later on in the tour I'll change it to nighttime. We can take a look at the settlement with all the lights on. So come on over here and then notice the construction signs. As we continue to establish a permanent place here in the Commonwealth, one of our goals is to continue building out the airport and eventually renovating the entire thing so we can have our primary base of operations inside. And what I wanted to do, I really wanted to sell the fact that we are still under construction. So I've made this building look complete, but still not complete, if that makes sense. Still under construction. So as you can see, if we pan around here, these cinder block walls right here are only temporary, as they haven't been, brick hasn't been laid yet. Plenty of scaffolding and struts, exposed struts right there, just to sell the fact that it's still under construction. Got plenty of tarps everywhere, and then I made sure to put debris everywhere also, just to show that we're still building it. So this area still under construction, as you can see. Got some exposed I-beams right there holding it up. If we pan over here, this wall over here, or this section of the building rather, is still under construction, as you can see. Plenty of construction signs, and then there's a giant crane right there on some supports, just to aid in the construction as well. If we pan over here, being that this is a central logistics center, we control the import and export of goods out to other outposts. Looks like this is a shipment that had just come in from the Vertibird over here. Got some purified water, plenty of mini nukes right here, and then looks like these are a couple crates from the Mechanist Lair. And we have operational forklifts as well. This one right here is carrying some more mini nukes. I also wanted to turn this into sort of a quick turnaround repair shop for the Vertibirds. A landing pad. So has a landing pad I've also made it into a workshop where it can come in for quick maintenance, quick refueling so that it can be sent out within hopefully no more than a few hours. Looks like this vertibird returned not too long ago, and they're just getting it all tuned up again. It looks like they're gonna outfit this one with some pretty heavy duty missiles right here. Got plenty of tool chests and a garage or a vehicle diagnostics tuner right here. Gonna load it up with some new mini nukes right there, and then looks like they're doing some maintenance on the minigun that's attached there, or usually attached there. I wanted to make it look like they were also giving it, or they were refueling it. So I built kind of a refueling hose right here, so it goes into, I imagine it's refueled through the wing right there, and then the hose is connected to a couple of refueling tanks right here. So I imagine this was originally, or the airport originally had this, and they just were able to get the pumps working again, able to repurpose it. There's also another one over here, as you can see. And plenty of oil drums just in case. I made sure to put plenty of guard towers around, as I imagine Brotherhood settlements don't typically make use of walls like other more established settlements do. Perhaps because the Brotherhood move around more often, but in my lore and my playthrough, they're definitely trying to stay here permanently. But even the lack of walls, all the barbed wire and the pikes, be quite difficult to try to infiltrate the place, especially trying to do it stealthily. Got tons of barbed wire everywhere. And let me give you one more view of the landing pad here. Imagine the Brotherhood of Steel. The pilots have to be quite skilled, as the vertibird rotors are dangerously close to the watchtowers here. Alright, make our way down once again. Another view of the logistics building. We'll head in there in just a moment. Right here we have a sort of a mission briefing area. I imagine this is where, well, pretty self-explanatory. They'll come in here prior to any missions. Before heading out, they'll come in here, get a quick briefing of it. I fashioned it after, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the movie Black Hawk Down. At the beginning, before they head out, they are in this mission. They're in sort of a mission briefing area like this. Of course, there has to be a refreshments table. They have some fresh coffee, stay awake. We have some purified water. Looks like a fresh batch of Slocum Joe's donuts. There might be a Slocum Joe's settlement build in the future. Stay tuned. Some nice Nuka-Cola and some purified water to stay healthy, of course. Got here, so a well-lit central stage area, plenty of these track lights, and then a map right here showing points of interest. Have a seating, of course, and then the projector over here. The U.S. military, they run off of PowerPoint, so I imagine the Brotherhood of Steel makes use of PowerPoint just as much. I have a table for the scribes, or perhaps other higher ranking Brotherhood officials, just to document the mission briefings. Have another table as well, the ham radio to contact, if they need to reach the Prydwen above or reach other settlements. And then right here are the Brotherhood of Steel rankings. So I'm the Sentinel of the Brotherhood of Steel, and then of course there's the Elder Maxons, the Elder. I don't know if there's a general rank member of the Brotherhood here in the East Coast chapter, but someone correct me if I'm wrong though. And here's I imagine on this table here they demonstrate how to field strip maybe a laser rifle or a plasma rifle. And just a bulletin board with need to know information, reminders as well for the soldiers. And some extra chairs, of course, if someone else joins the meeting. And I'll give you one more view of the briefing area. Alright, continue on here. Come on over here. So up here we have the air traffic control tower. There's definitely quite a few terminals and enough room for 3 air traffic control tower personnel up here. I imagine a lot of vertibirds come through the airport, so they gotta make sure this is manned at all times. And then of course a great view of the landing pad out here, and then have the parking structure over there. I imagine vertibirds will land up there if the landing pad out here is occupied. Got another table right here. Then of course a great view of downtown Boston. I also decided to put actual glass in the windows here for, I guess, their comfort. And then these cables right here are from the Mechanist. Well, they're Mechanist Lair props. I forget what mod adds these in, but that is a cool detail to sell that all these terminals are connected together. Okay. We'll make our way back down. And then just like the front of the building when we first entered the settlement, I wanted to make it look like this section was also under construction. So all the exposed, the electric right there, and then the temporary cinder block walls haven't quite been brick laid yet. The crane, like we mentioned. Got a cement mixer and plenty of lumber. And then of course the scaffolding. So if we come on in here, the interior is also under construction. Plenty of just construction detail. I went with the more kind of rough brick textured walls just to show that, you know, it's still the apocalypse. We're not professional contractors, but we're making do with what we have, and we're pretty competent, especially in the in apocalypse standards. So along with the logistics center office area, we have the logistics center warehouse. So right here, this is where we intake any shipments of supplies or resources, as well as do maintenance on vehicles and of course power armor. Right here it looks like they're fixing an engine for maybe a forklift, or there was a truck parked outside. Brotherhood does have working vehicles once again. Of course we have the power armor workshops. It's sort of mandatory in any Brotherhood settlement. If there's a workshop, have to have power armor stations as well. And then just some good workshop detail. And here's another robot workstation. I put some caution signs here because through this door are the supports holding up the crane, so this door can't be opened at the moment. Yep. They're rebuilding the engine here. I put some debris on the ground and it looks like there's a bit of an oil spill there. I'll get that cleaned up soon. And then we'll go over here. The power armor workstations here. Looks like we have, let's see, this is just a knight's armor right here, and then this one has a field pack on it. One of our field troops right here. I believe this is a knight sergeant ranking, or yeah, because I think the knight captain has the 2 lines above. I don't know. Someone correct me on that. Looks like a shipment of new fusion cores from the Mechanist Lair. I decided to repurpose the beer crate into the crates for shipping the fusion cores. Figured good way for the Brotherhood to recycle there. And then plenty of resources that they've either collected from other caravans or that they've flown in from elsewhere. A good stash of mini nukes just in case. And then of course they have Liberty Prime's ammunition right here. I believe that's copper, lots of copper. More Liberty Prime ammunition here. And then of course the giant doors open so the forklifts can bring in the supplies here. Alright, well, let's go into the logistics center. So we'll take you into the front here. I imagine this is where maybe allies of another settlement, perhaps Diamond City allies, will come here to have meetings with the Sentinel, as my personal office is here. Or I know the Brotherhood, we don't do open recruitments, but if some of our field troops find someone that, you know, they believe could benefit the Brotherhood of Steel, I imagine that they ask them to come here, and then they have a meeting with the Sentinel. So this is the lobby. Uh-oh. Oh man, thank goodness the lamp wasn't tipped over. That would have been really embarrassing. So this is the way area for anyone coming to meet with the Sentinel. Kind of sticking with the militaristic theme. I didn't decorate it a ton with too many trinkets or anything like that, just because I imagine the Brotherhood doesn't value little objects or materialistic things like that. I kept it pretty bare bones. The only art you'll see around any Brotherhood of Steel settlement, or outpost rather, will be Brotherhood of Steel power armor. That's the only art that matters. Imagine the receptionist makes anybody coming to visit the Sentinel wait just a little bit longer than they should. Per the Sentinel's request. Per my request. Got some cool scale models of the Prydwen right here. And then, of course, our pride and joy, Liberty Prime. Then we'll make our way up to the Sentinel's quarters, or office. Of course, officers only and restricted, unless you're invited up. So I made this custom plaque for my office right here. I know some military bases on the outside, the signs on the outside, they have the commander's name on it. So I did Commander Nate. I just stuck with the game's default name for the character. When I made this character, I didn't plan on expanding his lore with the Brotherhood of Steel as much as I did, so I stuck with basically the default name and then the default face. But you know. And then of course more Brotherhood of Steel themed art. This helps us remember the Capital Wasteland and the Citadel over there. That's it. And then of course an intercom, just to alert the Sentinel that I have a visitor. So very proud of how this office came out. It's sort of a rustic kind of industrial factory loft office. Of course, you gotta have the dry bar, plenty of the best top shelf booze. Sort of like a lodge feel almost with the animal heads. Very nice, cozy fireplace. A plasma rifle of some importance. And then these are my outfits, Sentinel outfits. So this is so I'm wearing a brown leather version of that right here. This is the black leather version. And then if Elder Maxon gets a cool coat, then I deserve a cool coat as well. I imagine I wear this coat out when I'm visiting the field locations, whereas this one is for, you know, more formal attire if I'm greeting representatives from other settlements or greeting new recruits. And then these are bronze Brotherhood of Steel statues. These are such a really cool mod. I actually shrunk these down so they can fit in the cases here, but they're actually quite large. Just amazing mod right here. There's a if I remember how to stand up, I apologize. I'm doing the tour on a controller. I usually play on mouse and keyboard. And then there's another one over here. And then the Sentinel's desk. Very nice. And got my own. As a sentinel, I'm allowed to have my own little keepsakes. Got some premium cigars. And then I decided to frame some of the T60 power armor blueprints with what we're able to achieve with the power armor factory at the Mechanist Lair, and that we're able to actually develop blueprints for the T60 power armor. This is a very proud accomplishment for my chapter, and so I just wanted to frame my achievement right here, and that we were able to establish actual blueprints. And in order to get the blueprints to fit in the frame here, I had to size it down and then size down another frame and put another one behind it. So there's actually 2 picture frames just so it looks fully put in the frame. Some more keepsakes right here, and then some premium. Oh, if I can get around there. Some premium vodka right here. Black Death vodka. And then, of course, in the office I have a nice view of the logistics warehouse down there. And of course the telephone to speak to the Prydwen or any other outpost. Let me give you another view of the office here. Continuing on, we have a nice balcony out here overlooking the entrance and then the road leading up to the airport. I imagine my character will indulge in a nice cigar out here from time to time. And then quite a large missile truck pointed right at downtown Boston there. Hopefully we haven't had to use that yet. One more look at the plaque, because I'm quite proud of it. Alright. Because I, myself, the Sentinel, resides primarily here, I imagine that we can't just have any soldiers stationed here in the barracks. So inside here, we have the Brotherhood Spec Ops Soldier Division right here. Within the barracks, there's a couple Spec Ops soldiers and then a Spec Ops pilot. This is their unofficial flag, if you will. So if you see this flag flying, then you know the Spec Ops are nearby. This is sort of akin to, you know, the Navy SEALs or the Army Rangers, but for the Brotherhood. I'll need to come up with a more formal name sooner or later. Stay tuned. But so this is where they stay. Again, I used the Brotherhood pod, furniture and walls from the thematic and practical mod. Being that this is a barracks, there's still quite minimal, but a little bit more personal possessions here. Got some posters, and looks like this person likes comics. And then definitely get their workout in here. Got to get swole. If you're part of the Spec Ops team, you got to be swole. Plenty of weights, and then it's a small little, say dining area, but it's an all-purpose table primarily used for dining. Then got a boxing or a heavy bag and a speed bag as well. Then a treadmill. So yeah, these guys, they're getting good workout in. The lighting in this settlement is quite unique. It's on an automatic timer, so once we reach a certain time in the day, the lights will turn on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it to nighttime, and then we'll show you the lights at night. Give me one moment. So this is nighttime. I have the lights on a timer. They turn on at 8 o'clock for the in-game time. So once the lights turn on, it'll illuminate the landing pad here, as well as the central area, I guess you would call it. Oh, there we go. So these lights are all on, and then over here on the landing pad, I put plenty of the strobe lights around the barriers or the edge of it, as well as the green lights, just to indicate that this is the landing zone, if you will. And then I also put strobe lights on the vertebrate wings as well. I did the red light on the left wing and the green light on the right wing. And here's a slightly better view of it. I have the green lights indicating the landing pad, and then the red lights indicating the walls or where they shouldn't land. Now there's one more thing in the settlement that we haven't toured just yet. With the Mechanist Lair, that not only has allowed us to build more effective, power armor and weapons, but we've also delved into research of other sorts. Particularly into maybe some pre-war weaponry. And thanks to some of our scribes and the missions that they've conducted and the things that they've found, especially out in the glowing sea, the Brotherhood, we've looked into some particular weapons of interest. I kind of glossed over this area, but if we come back along here, I got a mod that expands the build area of the airport ever so slightly. You may have noticed up here as well all the antennas and the radio satellite dishes. So if you come over here, we have one of those Brotherhood capsules. As you can see, a lot of heavy-duty electrical equipment there. You can only enter this structure by way of key card. Oop. And there's actually two layers of security. So you come in here. As you can see, we have a sort of a surveillance communications bunker. This really excellent mod adds in a holographic map of the entire downtown Boston area. And then of course, plenty of monitors to view any surveillance devices we put around the Commonwealth. But, as mentioned earlier, with some of the weapons we've been looking into, and been able to reproduce with the factory, these terminals allow us to do something a little bit more. So what you do, of course you would typically need 2 people for this, 2 highest ranking Brotherhood officials, so myself, Elder Maxon, Knight Captain Kells, and That's pretty much all I can think of who are authorized to do this. We each will have a key. Of course, being this is a demonstration, I have access to 2 keys. So one of the keys will go in here. And then the other key will go in here. With the keys in there, this, following the conduit here, it'll draw power to this fuse box here, which will allow us to flip the switch, which will cause the warning lights to go off. And then this will draw power to this switch, which causes the sirens to go off. These sirens indicate the imminent threat of nuclear launch. We at the Brotherhood of Steel have become fully nuclear. We now have the ability to cause Fallout 4 2. Electric Boogaloo. And then the way to launch them is you need to press these buttons here. This button and this button. And they both need to be blinking at the same time and need to be pressed at the same time while they're blinking. So I've timed them to blink for half a second, so one person cannot press them both. It needs to be pressed by 2 people. Of course, the Brotherhood won't use these weapons unless absolutely necessary. They're mainly here just to remind the Commonwealth what they're capable of. Alright everyone, well that concludes the tour of the Brotherhood of Steel Logistics Center at the Boston Airport. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Like I said, I have plenty more of these Brotherhood of Steel themed settlements. I'd love to keep touring them. Also, please give me any feedback or any suggestions. I always love to hear new ideas or anything like that. Other than that, take care. Have a good one.